Aren't you excited to talk about taxes? So pumped. Just gonna get myself organized here. Wait 1 minute. All 5 of you, all 4 of you are beyond excited to learn about taxes. I'm so jazzed. Thank you for showing up for the most interesting topic ever. However, it's the one that makes you money when you most need it. See, now people are popping up. All right, we'll wait a couple minutes. I'll mute for myself for a sec till I get my papers organized. I'll be right back. All right, we've got some more people. All 7 of you. So excited to learn about the most interesting topic of December. My brows are a little dark today, but I get to play with stuff. This is a very important topic. Funny enough, I taught this the same time last year, and I think I got nominated to talk about it again because so many people enjoyed it. Most interesting topic ever. Now, here's why I love talking about taxes and how to get yourself organized is because when I learned how to do it, I got money back. And yet it's really exciting when that happens because I'd never gotten money back previous since I was in university. So you get, if you're in university or going to school, you get super excited when you get money back. You feel like it's this additional paycheck, and all of a sudden you go to work and then you might not get one anymore. And then my first year doing Mary Kay, I got back an extra $1,800 at tax time, and I just fell off my chair. I said, this can't be right. I had a full-time job. I was making really good money, and I did Mary Kay on the side. And I think I sold $15,000 that year. Like I did half of the quarter sales. Remember, I only started in August. I never opened my kit. So I got really pumped that was my first showing of doing my taxes, and I didn't do them well, meaning I didn't keep after the kept. So I probably could have done better. So I committed at that moment that I was going to do better that year. And that second year I got back $3,200, and the third year I got back $4,700. And then after that I was making more, so I was paying less income tax than I was if my counterpart doing a different job making the same amount of money was paying. So at that point I fell in love with being organized for my taxes. Now, if you know my personality in general, my office looks like a bomb hit it, a little bit of ADD. I'm not organized. So I want you to know, if you're going, oh God, this is not me, you're okay. I started with a shoebox, and every receipt I had, I threw in the shoebox, and on the front of the shoebox, I wrote Mary Kay. And then at the end of the year, I organized them. As I moved through to get a little bit more, my business grew. I started getting more invoices and more expenses. I ended up buying an accordion file and organizing them, organizing my expenses and organizing my sales. So I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to give you some tools. And what I'll do is I'll send what I use, and one of the things I'm going to show you is just a little bit different than from last year, but I'm going to show you what I use and what I teach to my consultants to use. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's not hard. It's easy. Here's my disclaimer for the day. I am not an accountant. Big fat star, however you want to do a star. I'm not an accountant. Now, I suggest if this is your first time doing your taxes and you normally do them on your own and all of a sudden you're a Mary Kay consultant and you're considered a home-based business, I suggest you go get them done from someone else. Just a suggestion. H&R Block is wonderful. If you need to go out and do it with someone else. There's things that you can miss if you don't know. I'm going to give you them. But if you're not fluid in doing them on your own, maybe the first time as an entrepreneur, as a Mary Kay consultant, if this is your first time doing it, truck on over to an accountant, find one. Here's my other disclaimer about an accountant. The minute you joined Mary Kay, the minute you signed that lovely little agreement, you are considered an entrepreneur in the eyes of the government. You run a home-based business. There's many reasons why lots of people run home-based businesses. Some people knit socks and sell them out their back door. Some people sell widgets out of their front door. You sell skincare and cosmetics. You are a home-based business. The reason why that's important is that because of that, because you signed that agreement, you are privy to some tax benefits. And we're going to talk about what all of those are. If you don't know what a tax benefit is, Google the word. But basically, it's an item or a dollar value that you're able to get benefit from the government. So what it does is it subtracts from your current daily income. If you have children, they are tax benefits. So you can write them off. So you do understand what a tax benefit is until they're the age of 18 or 25. I forget. I should look that up. Now, I had an accountant. I taught this on my team last night, and it was funny. I had an accountant on she's not on here right now, but I had an accountant on there, and she was nodding her head the whole time. So I do know what I'm talking about. But my disclaimer again, I'm not one. If you have a complicated question or your taxes are complicated, absolutely go ask an accountant. All right, check, everybody. I swear I will go ask an accountant. Perfect. Okay, your second thing is if you go find an accountant, your first question is, hi, do you deal with home-based business? And if he or she says, yeah, I've done a couple, you run as fast as you can and find another accountant. If they're like, yes, I know what's going on, absolutely, I do work with home-based business on a regular basis, I allow you to stay. If at any point you get through the process of doing your taxes and then all of a sudden they question what you are or aren't able to write off, I suggest you go get a second opinion if you have the time to do so. It took me a little while to find a great accountant. I still use one out of Ottawa. I used to live there. I don't anymore. I still use him and he's wonderful. But there are things that I've taught him about our business along the way. And it's actually been really, really cool. So let's go. Are we ready? So I've done all my disclaimers. I'm not an accountant, yada, yada, yada. But let's get organized. If you have nothing organized thus far, you can do it all today in the next little bit. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to get things in piles. I'm a piler. I like to get things organized in front of me in a big fat table. One thing you're going to do is you're going to grab all the expenses that you have, get them all out, and we're going to separate them into piles. I'm going to give you those headings of what those piles look like shortly. I'll give you a couple right now. Shipping. I do ship stuff from Canada Post all the time. I ship stuff out of my office. So shipping costs, there's a Canada Post bill. Gas bills. These are a lot of what I have in my home that are receipts. So shipping cost, gas, and I also have office expenses. So they look like I've purchased things from IKEA for my office, and then also from the dollar store. So if you purchase things like cellophane, ribbon, wrapping, those are all business supplies or office supplies. So what I do is I get my expenses and I separate them into piles. That is the absolute first thing you do. If you're looking at me going, what expenses? Then you need to be on this call. No question. If you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I kept no receipts, then you're going to keep them all for December and you're going to start fresh in January. So your biggest receipts that you want to get, your gas receipts, you want to keep everything. What my rule of thumb is if I get a receipt somewhere that I purchase, I always look at it and say, am I going to make money off this? Is this a money-making purchase? Meaning, am I going to use it for my business? And then what I normally do when I grab the receipt is I write on the top of it what it is. I mean, gas is pretty self-explanatory, but if you bought things from the dollar store, like I would say open house packaging, I'd write what it is. So when I go back to organize it, I know exactly what it is. So get those suckers into piles. So I got 3 piles. Here's my example. I've got gas, shipping, and office supplies. So guess what I do? I make 3 sticky notes that say office supplies, postage. This one says postage, gas. Now, if you're a part-time consultant, you might have this many receipts. If you've been doing this business for 6 to 8 months, you might have a couple. If you've been doing it for a year, you might have a few. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to add up what you paid. The biggest thing that the government wants to know is what you paid for things. So the final total cost after tax, that's what they want to know. So I want to know the final cost. So what you're going to do is take all those gas receipts or all those postage, all the gas receipts, add them up. And then on the front of it, I write gas and what the number is. This is really easy for a consultant at any level to do, and director. So gas, add it up. I take all my postage stamps, anything that I paid on postage, add it up. Take my office supplies, anything that I did on office supplies, add it up. So that organizes my expenses. So I should just be able to go look at a bunch of sticky notes and see my totals that I spent on each one of those expenses. Now let's talk about expenses quickly. Some of these things are, some of your expenses are expenses that you would have if you and I never met. If you and Mary Kay never met. If you and never signed an agreement, you still have some expenses that you can write off. So for instance, some expenses that you would still have if you never signed an agreement is mortgage interest and property taxes, rent, cell phone bill, power bill, water bill, internet bill. All those, that's 7 things that you are still paying, even if you weren't a Mary Kay consultant. So all of a sudden you've become a Mary Kay consultant, a portion of each 7 of those bills you can write off as your business. Mind blowing. So when I have a consultant that says, oh, my accountant told me that it wasn't of benefit to me to write off any of those expenses, I'm just like, pow, go find a new accountant, one, because you've had those 7 expenses forever anyway. And then all of a sudden, since you become a consultant, you can write off a portion of each of those. I've heard things like, well, a portion's not a lot. Well, sorry, sister, a portion is way more than 0. Because before you signed your agreement, you could write off 0. The minute you joined Mary Kay, you can now write off anywhere between 0 and 20% of those bills. That's normally what a part-time person can write off of those bills, anywhere between 0 and 20% based on your activity. And those are numbers that you figure out with your accountant or based on the square footage of your home, which we will talk about shortly. So I want you to know that those expenses that I just listed are all tax benefits to you. You get to write off a portion of each of those. You get to write off a portion of gas. You get to write off your postage. You get to write off your office supplies. The percentages of what you can write off are something you figure out with your accountant based on the square footage of your home, if you're writing off home expenses. How you figure out the percentage that you get to write off for your gas is, again, something you discuss with your accountant, but it's based on the kilometers that you drove for Mary Kay. Here's how you figure that out. Hopefully, somebody told you to take your mileage at the beginning of the year, January 1st, or the day that you joined. If you're a brand new consultant this year, your director or whoever trained you would have said, hey, run out to your car and take the mileage of the car as the day of you joined. On December 31st, you're going to take what's called your ending mileage. So you're going to run out half naked in your pantyhose before you get your pretty dress on for New Year's, and you're going to take the mileage of your car. And the starting kilometers, which might have been 10,000, and then all of a sudden you finished the year at 20,000, you drove 10,000 kilometers in the time that you became a consultant. You're going to take a percentage of that based on your activity and call it Mary Kay kilometers. So let's say it's 20%, 2,000 kilometers. Now you get to write off 20% of your gas, maintenance to your car, winter tires you just bought, oil change, license, insurance, registration, interest on a loan, car payment. And you already had those car expenses before you joined Mary Kay anyway. So now you get to drive around your lovely car that you pay for, you get to write off a portion of it. That's why it's so exciting to become a consultant. Where you're talking about new people to join your team, you're taking their write-offs from 0 to 20%. They're now most likely going to get tax back. Is everybody going to get money back? No, I don't know all about your situation. But what I do know is it brings down your taxable income. I'm going to give you an example of how that works. So here's how tax benefits work. Let's say your income for the year at your day job is 50 grand. Let's say your income for your day job is $50,000. Let's say your write-offs that we just added up, and I'm going to show you that list. Let's say the write-offs that you just add up to $9,000. So all year long, the government was taxing you on 50 grand for your job. You were paying federal, provincial, CPP, all based on your $50,000 income. But all of a sudden, at the end of the year, when you add up your Mary Kay expenses, you have a $9,000 deduction. So the government should have been charging you at 41,000 instead of 50. So they've overcharged you tax. The difference of what you paid is what you get back. I'm not saying you get back 9 grand. I'm saying the difference between what you would have paid on 41,000 in tax and what you would have paid on 50,000, the difference of that is your benefit. That's how you get money back. I'm going to give you another example. Let's say you make $50,000 a year at your day job. Let's say you sold $10,000 in Mary Kay all year long. So your new income for the year is how much? 60 grand. So you have a $60,000 a year job. Let's say your tax deductions that we just added up were 9 grand. So normally you pay taxes on 50,000 all year long, but you made $10,000 more. Congratulations. But your tax deductions were 9. So it brought you down to 51,000 in income. So now you're only paying tax on 51,000 when you really made 60. That's how a tax benefit works. That's how anybody making over 100,000 has money in their pocket. They get a tax benefit so they can keep more money in their pocket. This is the reason that people making $50,000 a year, if they don't have a tax break, they're living off 2 credit cards because they just can't afford it. You need a tax break, and that's why your job is so fantastic. So do you understand that? So that's why people in Mary Kay get really excited when they make $10,000, but their tax breaks are 9. So they only pay taxes of $1,000 more, which is a joke. So it's like basically they get 9 grand for free. It's kind of awesome. That's why people get pumped. Okay, so we talked about expenses. I want to talk to you about, excuse me, about what things you can write off. And I'm going to give you a list. I'm going to show you a list. And if you'd like to see it, I will send these to the directors and they will send them out to you. So I'm going to share a little screenshot with you. Excuse me. Let's share a screenshot with you. This is a list of headers that is meant to go on an accordion file or a file folder. These are literally things that you can write off. For example, bank card charges. It blows my mind that in my checking account, I pay $14.95 a month. But guess what? I get to write off $14.95 a month. So who cares? It's a tax deduction for my checking account, of which I do business out of. All these things, see this up here, gifts with other expenses, gift with purchase, cost of preferred customer program. So what you pay to ship off those books is a tax deduction. Commissions and fees, if you have a team, excuse me, you want to report that income. This is just things that you can write off and how you should organize your life. One of the biggest things that people actually forget to write off is the cost that it actually costs them to do their taxes. If you don't run a home-based business, you don't get to write that cost, but everybody pays the cost to get it done. Since you're a consultant, you get to write it off every year. And a good accountant will remind you of that and add that in. Advertising. Preferred customer program is one of the things in there. If you bought a personal website, which all new consultants got that for free, but if you paid for that at any point, you get to write that off. Business cards, many postcard things, you door knockers you bought, any things like that that you use for advertising. Returns, allowances, gross receipts. What other do I have here? Taxes, travel. So yes, if you traveled for anywhere, like if you traveled to go see a client, if you traveled to, I drive to Cape Breton, one of my best girlfriends is on my team. I drive to see her. I have clients in the area. That drive, any hotel stay, any gas is all an offable expense. So these are just headers that you can use to organize your life. So basically what these are meant to be for, as you can see at the top, if you'd like to have them, it says print on Avery labels or something comparable that you can actually stick them to file folders, and that's how you can organize them. Does that make sense? So I'll make sure if anybody, does anybody want me to send those to your director so you can have them? Okay. One of the biggest things is people always think that there's just so much stuff. I can't do it. If you're a part-time person, again, you've got this many receipts. It's worth it to write it off. So sometimes part-time say, well, I don't have a lot. That doesn't matter. You're still a home-based business. In most of Canada, you have to place one order a year. I think there's 2 provinces that you have to place 2 to consider yourself a home-based business. And one of those provinces is New Brunswick. You have to place at least 2 minimum orders a year to be considered that. I think there's another province, I can't remember what it is, but it's definitely New Brunswick. Regardless, all of you on here are placing more than 2 orders a year. You are an entrepreneur. Congratulations. So if you are doing a larger business, you might want to organize these expenses monthly. In other words, at the end of each month, you're going to, here's December's expenses. If you're a part-time person, just ram them all together, put them in a pile, call it a day. Here's my expenses for the year, fill it in. This is what I did for the first 5 years. Now it's a little bit more complicated. So you can do this. This is what I did forever. This is how I teach new consultants. Organize your expenses, put gas with gas, postage with postage, car with car, that sort of thing. Now, does anybody have any questions about that? Any questions about what you can and can't write off? You can't write off haircuts. You can't write off outfits. The only thing you can write off is a red jacket. You used to be able to write off haircuts. My mom wrote off haircuts and pantyhose for years. The government has changed that. You can't do it anymore. You can write off your red jacket that you purchased. You can write off this thing, a director's suit, that sort of thing. A seminar dress, you can write that off. That sort of thing. Any education you do with seminars, so you purchased to go on Elevate online, that as well, get to write that off. So you want to keep all those receipts. The first receipt that you can ever write off is the receipt that shows up with your kit. I'll just dig out a kit here. The first receipt that shows up with your kit is your biggest write-off. Now I'm going to talk about other pieces of paper that show up with your product. These are the second most important thing that you want to organize, these bad boys. You all receive these in your orders. This literally lists your product. Literally lists your product. If you don't have these or you lost them, I was notorious for chucking them in the garbage. Notorious, so bad. Do what I do, not as I say. Do what I say, not as I did. You can actually go print all of your orders off. Does anybody want me to tell you where you can do that on InTouch?
Yes, please.
Okay, so basically you log on to InTouch, you go to My Business, at a glance tab, you click on at a glance, and then right there you'll be able to click a little button that says order history. And then you can select what year you want, or you can look at them all. So if you select 2021, you'll see every freaking order you did for 2021, and you can print them all off until you're blue in the face, or the ones that you're missing. So what's really important with each one of these is every time, does that answer your question? Does that help, Robin?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So My Business, at a glance, order history, and then you choose what dates you want, date range, which would be 2021. Now, these bad boys, I'm going to highlight my video here so you might be able to see me a little bit better. Okay, so these things are very important. Now, the things what you do is you're going to put these in a pile. I suggest you put them in order from January to December. They're much easier to go through. And as soon as you get these, you can see what I've circled here. Let me circle one more. Hold on. What I've circled here is what you want. What I've circled here is the numbers that you need and are the most important. So the first one you can see is wholesale amount. The government needs to know what you paid for product. That is called COGS, cost of goods. So the cost of the goods that you purchased, considered inventory. I always liken it to a Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons has to buy coffee so they can sell coffee. They got to buy donuts so they can sell donuts. They got to buy sugar so they can put sugar in the coffee. They got to buy milk. That's all their cost of goods. So right there, wholesale. So wholesale is your cost of goods. So circle that amount. Section 2, just below that, I would circle that as well. That is your business, straight up business supplies. Those are your samples. Those are straight write-offs. Hence the reason they are not discounted 50% and they're cheap. They're straight business supplies for you, straight write-off, like pens for your office. You want to circle your GST, HST, PST, whatever province you're in and what you pay, circle that. Because what your accountant wants to know is how much you paid and how much tax you paid for cost of goods. That's what they want to know. And the last but not least, freight or postage. Yay. You get to write that off. $13.35. Now, the other thing you want to print off is where I told you to go print off those orders. You want to print off any CDS orders, so customer direct ship orders, to where you paid the shipping. In other words, you paid it for your client, you ate that shipping, you can write that shipping cost off. So you either would have documented that in your invoice, or you can print it off of there and be like, I paid for this. I did not charge my client. You can write that off. So here's what you want to do. Are you ready? You want to put these in order. You want to get a piece of paper, and I wrote it down. Just one sec. Somewhere in the back of a pink piece of paper. You want to take a piece of paper. You want to write wholesale and the number. Section 2, number. Tax, number. Shipping, number. You want to total it up for every one of those invoices. So basically you're taking a calculator and going, wholesale amount, done. Shipping, done. Section 2, total. You're going to need all these totals and you're going to pile it together. That makes sense? Okay. Last but not least, I'm going to show you where you organize this, and it's really simple. So the goal is that when you show up to your accountant, you have a list of expenses and a list of sales. And you just say here, along with your T4 from your day job, if you have a day job. So that's the information that we're trying to give them. The more organized you are, the less you're going to pay to get it done, the less complicated. And to be honest, this is a skill that if you can master this and learn this and pass it on to someone in your life, you will empower them to the umpteenth degree, in particular, a woman. If you can pass this on to a daughter, another consultant, a fellow sister consultant, a fellow director, a sister, a mom, you will empower her to own her own destiny. I hate it. It hurts my soul when people say, well, I don't know what a tax break is. And I don't mean that to be mean. It reminds me that we weren't educated on these things growing up. So now it's taken myself to run a business and to learn about the entrepreneurship and ask questions and sit with accountants to understand it more. And I hope now that I can pass it on to anybody that comes in my space, and then you can learn it and pass it on and feel empowered. So whatever your destiny is in this business, whether you stay for 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, or 50, you have a great experience, you walk away with skills that you can transfer into your daily life and that you can pass on. I think that's super important, because once you know that, I mean, man, the women that come into our business, sometimes they come in and they stay for a short time and then they go on to start their own businesses from the skills that they learned here. This is one of those skills. This is one of those skills that is really, really important. So let's talk about two things that you want to get organized in a hot minute, super quick. You want to take 2 sales slips. We're going to talk about sales now. 2 sales slips in particular. And you're going to call one, I'm going to pin myself again, sorry. You're going to call one personal product. You're going to call one personal product. And this is really important for a couple of reasons. One, this is how you get your GST back. That's a lesson for another day. We're going to talk about that later. This is a lesson for another day. 2, this is important so it removes it from your inventory. But you need to write what you used for you. So what did you remove from your shelf that you lovingly bought at 50% off? Congratulations. But what did you take off your shelf for you? Now, you guys know, I always say it all the time, I am my best customer. I did about $1,400 last year, or this year so far, and it's not over yet, for product for myself. So I am my best client. So I have 7 of these, I think, maybe 8, tacked together. And sometimes I'll do it the whole year because I keep a tally on a little whiteboard in my room. Or I'll do January through March, a quarter. Here's my product I used for me, April through June, blah, 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 blah. You want to get this right in your head. If you haven't done it already, go step in your bathroom and find out what you use for you, or get your list ready and go from there. So you want to do that. The second thing that you want to do is you want to make a sales slip for demos and gifts. Now, if you have lots of both, you might want to make a separate invoice for gifts and a separate invoice for demos. But I'm going to assume that you're going to be giving some gifts this December to some humans. Friends and family, my daycare providers are getting stuff. My cleaner is getting stuff. Whatever gifts you give away is very important that you remove from your inventory with the sales slip, because it will be accounted for. And you can also receive half your tax back on it as well. The same thing with any product that you took out to demo. If you're doing in-person appointments or to squirt on somebody's hand or face, you want to make sure that you do that, or to do live demos, you want to make sure that you write that down. Okay, so those are 2 super things to get organized very, very, very quickly. Now, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can organize this. So we've got all of our expenses done, and then sales. You want to organize your sales, and then I'm going to show you where to plug it in so it's easily populated. So you want to take your sales slips, and I suggest you do it monthly. Again, if you are a part-time consultant and you have 2 sales a month, I'm sure you can do this very quickly, and you can just add it all together. That's 24 sales. You can add it all up. If you have 20 sales in a month, you might want to separate them by month and create an accordion file and do January through December. Stuff them in there. What the government wants to know is the final amount of money I collected. They don't give a sweet beep what discounts you gave. That's your problem. That's money you didn't get because you gave a discount. As you can see, I did too. They want to know the final amount that you collected. So right there, 3078. That is the number. That is the sale number that I had on December 13th. So that's the number that you want to record. So when you're adding stuff up and you're wondering, do I do before tax or after tax? What you collected after tax. They need to know the after tax number because you're reporting to Mary Kay your wholesale amount plus what you paid in tax. You need to talk the same language. So you need to report what you collected after tax. So your January sales should be your sales that you collected after tax and after tax and discounts. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all your sales slips for January. You're going to get a lovely pink sheet and you're going to write January sales and put them in order. That's how you report sales. Any questions on that one before I tell you how to plug it into a spreadsheet to make your life so darn organized? No questions, no hand raising, clear as mud today? Wow, nailing it. Okay, super. Okay, so let me see my detail-oriented humans. Show me detail-oriented people. Okay, that's not me. I just was telling you to raise your hand. That's not me. So who likes pretty things? Me. I love pretty things. Okay, so I got jazzed by both of these things, but I'm going to show you what I used first, and then I'll show you what I graduated to. So I'm just going to bring this up here really quick. This is what I started with when I first started the business, because this spoke to me. So I'm going to show you two different things, and hopefully I'm talking to each one of your personalities. Now, this is pretty, and it's lovely organized. And if you have a lot of sales, at the top where it says tax worksheet for the month of, you're going to write January and then do all you're going to fill in all the blanks of what we just created. So look at number 3. It says cost of goods sold. Amount of section 1 wholesale product purchased from the company, shipping and handling paid to the company, and the amount of product given as a hostess gift or personal use. So cost of goods sold, you want to add everything in that button and fill it in. Advertising, company produced sales literature, business cards, newspaper ads, Mary Kay personal website program, names submitted for preferred customer program. You're going to take all those numbers and fill them in right there on the block. Does that make sense? So this is pretty. Love this. So you can do this for the month of January. And basically just fill in what you have. If you don't know it, you're going to take all the information that we just gathered together. You're going to fill in what you can fill in. You're going to go to your accountant and they're going to help you with the rest. That's what's super awesome about accountant. Again, if you're a part-time consultant, you're not going to have a ton. You're going to be able to add this up really quick. And you might write tax worksheet for the year of 2021 and add them all together and fill it in. And you'll have one sheet. Super nice. Does that get anybody excited to be organized? Literally, it tells you what's in each format and what they want you to add together. Now, let's talk about what I graduated toward and what really jazzes me now. I love a good spreadsheet, and I love it when it's well done. This one was created, Judy Huskins is on here. This one was created by Janice Appleby way back when my mom was a national sales director, and they used it quite a bit. Now it's been adapted over time, but the fundamentals of it are still there, and it was created by an accountant in Halifax. And it's a populated spreadsheet, meaning you punch in numbers, it populates. So this is why I like things that are pretty and work. So, excuse me. For instance, sales for January, I added up that I had $500 in sales in January. So I wrote it in there. I added up for February that I had $699. In March, I apparently sold nothing. I took a month-long vacation, did nothing. April, I sold $100. May, I sold, let's say I just had a bang out month, sold $9,000 in May, just crushed it. What's super cool about this spreadsheet is that it actually will populate, as you can see at the bottom, it populates it. Whatever numbers I fill in here, it populates. And then when I go over to the summary, there's a little tab down the bottom. It shows me my sales and income for the year, done by month. Ooh, isn't that fun? Guys, come on, this is fun. You do this once, you feel like a master because you show up at your accountants and they're like, say what? You're organized. Most home-based businesses don't show up like this and they expect people to do all the work. So when you show up like this, you just all of a sudden become a pro and you're spending $80 instead of $350 to get your taxes done. It's really awesome. Now, as you can see, sales are at the top. So you guys already figured that out. So you're going to plug them all in. If you get commissions, just say you're crushing it. You got 350 commissions, you got nothing. And then May, you got 500. October, you got $80. So that adds all your income together. If you got an HST or GST rebate from the company, so again, that's a lesson for another day, you're going to add that income in there as well. If you get a GST check, so any other income you have that's related to Mary Kay, you're going to stick in here. This is where you write in all your expenses that we just went through. So for example, I had postage. I just did it for the year. I think I can plug a year in. Let's say, postage, 120. 120 for postage. And then what else do I have? Oh, ProPay fees, or if you pay Square fees, you want to plug those in there as well. Any bank charges. So I know I already told you guys I pay $14.95, shoot me now, a month for my CIBC account. So I just fill that across the board every month. Do you guys understand what I'm doing here? So this is a lovely spreadsheet that basically tells you everything you can write off. So if you haven't found anything yet and you're completely unorganized, you're going to open up this expense, this spreadsheet, and you're going to be like, okay, first thing I need to find is all the shipping I paid for Mary Kay. Second thing I need to find is what months did I do section 2? I've got to find, so on this first month here, I have $7. So in January, I'm going to put $7. You guys understand? Yes. What did I pay for my internet bill? Okay, I got to go find that. What did I pay for my cell phone bill? I got to find that. And then there's for your car and there's for your home. Genius. Isn't that genius? So then it summarizes it all over here. I obviously punched something in wrong. But expenses, obviously haven't added that up. And then it creates a profit and loss column. No. Everybody's not excited about that. I think it's exciting. Would love a copy of the spreadsheet. Absolutely. I can make sure you get that. So this, what'd you say?
Me too, please.
Who was that?
Robin.
Robin. Okay. I'll make sure that I send that.
I'm on Carol's team.
You're Carol's. Yes, that's right. I will make sure that I send that out to the directors, and the East Coast ones that are on here will get it as well. If there's anybody that doesn't get it from me in the next 24 hours, then, or doesn't get it from their director, just message me directly. But this spreadsheet was a game changer for me as a consultant, and I still use it as a director just to organize my life. Mine's a little bit more complicated now, but it's honestly, this is one of the things that got me on track of getting excited, because I basically looked at this list and went, oh my God, I can write off all this stuff. That got me pumped. Now I pay daycare right now. If any of you pay daycare, so help me. I heard it's going down next year, but put daycare expenses in there as well. Property tax, mortgage interest, repairs to your home, water, power, heat, any maintenance you do to the outdoor. If someone shovel your driveway or do lawn care, or someone clean your house and you can get a receipt, those things are all a tax benefit as well. So that spreadsheet is literally your Bible as to what you can and cannot write off, and what receipts you need to go find. Now, if you're looking at me going, I don't have any of those receipts, this seems wacko. basically a lot of the receipts come online to you. Cell phone bill, internet bill, power bill, water bill, whatever other bill comes into your home, car payment, mortgage interest and property taxes, all those big things you can go hunt down. It takes a hot minute, but you can print them all off, or you can save it to a little USB, have a copy of that, and just make sure you get the numbers as to what you paid, not what you were billed. If you got a $350 bill and you only paid $175 of it in the month of December, that's all you claim is $175, not what you were charged, what you paid. My dad said that to me one time. He's like, you didn't pay the whole darn bill. You can't write it all off. You didn't pay it. I was like, oh, yes, that's key. So just be smart when you're doing that. So if you're thinking I didn't save anything, those are the things you want to do from now. One of the biggest receipts that you will have is gas. If you travel around to deliver any products, if you travel anywhere to go see a client or anything like that, you need to go get the little receipt. If it doesn't print out right at the station, you need to get your cute butt into the warm vestibule and go get it from the human behind the counter. Very important, especially since gas is so high at the moment. But we need to go do that. So does anybody have any questions for me at all? Feel free to ask. Again, not a consultant, but Laura Lee, those persons capture everything. I'm definitely interested. Absolutely. Anybody have any questions? No. Okay. Well, Esther, go ahead.
How does the spreadsheet work, Nadia, to do it all automatically?
So it's basically, they're all formulas. You cannot go change the formulas. It's a protected.
So when you send that to us, it'll all be built in.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's not something that you have to do it.
Okay.
The second thing you guys want to learn, and this is, if anybody would like a video as to how to do their GST, I just posted the one that I created last year. Actually, I did it on Carol Thompson's page. But your GST reimbursement from the company is wicked important. I talked to them the other day, and I'm one of very few people that do it. Now, you can do it on your taxes, a little bit more complicated to get organized, but the company creates a really great form and information for you to do it. If you're a part-time person, it won't take you that long. 20 minutes, get it done. Now, I'm going to show you the box that I'm sending into the company for 3/4. This is my GST reimbursement and the paperwork that goes along with it. Here's how you get your tax back from the company. Again, I will give you the video. Yes, May is super organized. She does it every quarter. That is the smart way to do it. I am not organized and I'm sending in 3/4, but they still accept it. Usually they'll accept it up to 2 years, like within a year and a half, 2 years. If you're organized, they like it. Now, the way that you get tax back is if you brought product from the company and decided to use it for yourself, you have lost tax. Do you understand that? Because you paid the tax, the full retail tax to the company when you purchased it. So if you kept it for yourself, you don't recover it. It's lost. So the company, because you're a consultant, you are privy to recover half of the tax back you paid on the product from Mary Kay head office 4 times a year. As May mentioned, she does it quarterly. Now, if you sell the product to a client, you actually charge them tax and recover it. So you paid it up front, you sell the product to a client, you charge them and recover it. That's actually called a wash. So pay it up front, get it back. Got it? If you decide to sell that product at a discount, let's say you had $100 worth of product, the consultant, decide to sell it for $80. Legally, I'm going to say this really loud. Legally, you are only legally allowed to charge them tax on $80. You, the consultant, you cannot charge them on $100. That is illegal. You cannot go to a clothing store, buy a $50 skirt for $20, and the clothing store will not charge you tax on the $50. Illegal. So if you decide to sell the product at a discount for $80, you have lost tax. So the tax you paid on $100 is way different than the tax that you paid on $80. That difference you are able to recover from Mary Kay head office. Basically, you fill out a form that says, Mary Kay, I decided to sell my product at a discount, so I'm privy to recover half the tax. Now, for those of you that live in Alberta, it's not a lot. And you're like, might be, it's not worth it. It is when it adds up over the year. For those of us that pay 15% tax, $15 on 100, and I can recover $750 on my own personal tax. So you better believe I'm getting that sucker back. The other thing is, if you have status, if you are Aboriginal and you have status and you're paying tax to Mary Kay head office when you purchase the product and you have a band number, you are privy to recover all of that tax back. And so you want to go fill out that form halfway through the year, or sorry, at quarterly through the year, and you want to fill that out and get it back. And also gifts and donations. So that's why I make you fill out the gifts and donations form. Gifts and demos, I'm sorry, gifts, demos, and donations. You can also recover the half the tax back on the product that you gift, product that you demo, and product that you donate. So there's a reason why I have you fill these out, because it's very important to keep track of. That's money in the pocket. So I think that's in that box is $600 back for me. And guess when it's going to show up? January. Because I'll send it in now. And so what happens when they do a GST refund is it'll actually go in your Mary Kay account. Basically, your Mary Kay account is when you go to log on to order, it'll show up in your AR, accounts receivable, and you can apply it to an order if you want. If you decide not to apply it to an order, it'll go into your bank account the following month if you set up direct deposit. So maybe May and I are the only people that send it for the GST reimbursement. There's not, and Selena does, there's not a ton. There's not a ton. They are, just so you know, they are coming out. I'm probably not supposed to announce this, but now I'm going to tell you. They're coming out with a spreadsheet. Pretend I didn't tell you. So probably not supposed to. They haven't tested it fully. It was created a while ago, but just obviously more things became important over the last 18 months. So I got to test it for them for a little bit. They're still making some tweaks to it, but it's going to become a lot even easier to do. Yeah, anyway, it's super easy. You guys check it out. If you want the video, shoot me a message. I can send it to your directors if you'd like to have that as well. I love taxes because it made me income when I needed it during tax time. $1,800 is nothing to sniff at. Neither is 38 or 33 or 48 or whatever I took home those first 3 years. It was pretty exciting because I'd never gotten it back before. So get organized. You are an entrepreneur, whether you order twice a year or 50 times a year, and you're privy to tax breaks. Every Tim Hortons owner that I know has an office in their home for a reason. So they can keep more of their hard-earned money in their bank account. That just allows you to keep more of your daytime income in your bank account as well. So any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. If I don't know, I'll send you towards Sharon, my accountant consultant, or ask an accountant. I still to this day ask my accountant all kinds of questions. So happy Wednesday. I know it's not the fun thing that you want to be talking about in the middle of December, but it's really amazing for your business. I hope you all are enjoying or will enjoy a relaxing December, a great holiday season, and I wish you all the best for your family in the new year if I don't talk to you before then. I send you lots of love from the east all the way across to the west. Lots of love, guys. I'll make sure I answer.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.